place is a wonderful community. It's very warm, it's very close. People actually get to know each other, and I know many, many people who have made their lifelong friends here.
The thing that really drew me towards PAFA was the student work. I found that the work I saw was just far above.
It has a curriculum and an environment that really, really prepares you to be a practicing artist.
The museum is part of the teaching and learning environment, and we have a fabulous collection.
All too often in our culture, we only experience art through mediation, through digitization.
And then I can say, well, go into the cast hall and look how Michelangelo interpreted the same information we're looking at.
The cast hall really is the most valuable resource that I've found in or out of the city, just because if you're working in a traditional manner, as a lot of people here are, it's always there and it's always models to work from.
The most amazing thing was to be able to walk around the museum collection and see every type of major portraiture produced in this country. All of our faculty at the Academy are working, practicing artists as well as very intense instructors.
Well, it's always been very helpful to me to have faculty who they're showing in galleries and casting their own work and sort of making their way on their own as artists and actually making that work, and that's been extremely inspiring.
And then I'm very inspired by the students, what they do. Every day I see them doing things and saying, I have to try that. I'm bringing that back into my studio and I'm going to try that.
I think being surrounded by people who are really gifted is something that is really healthy for me because I'm constantly being pushed.
And if I'm struggling with something in the studio, I usually like to present it or tackle it in the classroom.
And things that I do in my studio, I bring right back to school. It's important for me not to teach a load that's too heavy because I think then I would start teaching before I learn.
I wanted to go to a school that I was sure was going to give me a lot of training. And I liked that the first year was just chock full of classes. It was almost like boot camp and like anatomy and perspective.
I wanted to go to a school where I can really learn how to paint the figure. PAFA was really my first choice.
It was a huge draw coming here that you get your own studio space. But it's a really useful stepping stone to get from being in school full-time to being a working artist.
There's people who, once they get into studio, totally take off.
It's a different feeling from painting at home. I feel like, I have my own space to just paint. I actually want to stay there longer and paint for more time.
It's kind of a little baby step because you get your own free time and you get your own space and you can work according to how you want to work, but you still have critics and you still have some classes and you're still in a school environment, so it's a really useful in-between stage.
When I see the student exhibitions, while I may see schools that have a similar range of work, I can see that technical level. If they all of a sudden take a new path, what we see is that that foundation of technical skill comes to inform work that becomes more experimental, more trying to break new ground. And I think that that's one of the things that surprises me the most.
See the ASC as a learning experience. I thought I would be a painting major, drawing major, and I kind of just threw that all away after the first year, and I realized, wow, I really love sculpture. Thinking sculpturally actually became a better painter too.
You could have a sculpture major in their fourth year annual student exhibition having a wall that has all video.
And then the ability to take the skills which they learn about painting, drawing, printmaking, and sculpture and translate that into a true personal voice.
PAFA's in a city. We have the PMA right over there. We have all sorts of galleries going on First Friday. There's always something going on.
They have new barns now. They have the PMA. There's lots of museums. And, they just opened up the Rodin Museum again, and that's like an awesome museum. That's like kind of amazing that it's right down the drive from us.
So many different events going here where you're able to meet other artists.
Like if you're bored or if you're lack of inspiration, that's your fault because there's always inspiring things going on around here.
I would say that the studio experience, having artists as teachers, and being free to create is really what our stronghold is.
And that speaks to the kind of freedom of expression that is enabled by the education here.
So I think what we do here that's unique is we prepare artists to be artists.